Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you from all over the U.S. and around the world. It is Crafternoon with Tom and Gina. Hey, Tom.
Hey, happy Crafternoon with a K.
Hey, where are you? There you are. Yes, it's really a Crafternoon today because we're going to be using Kraft cardstock. Did you see my little preview that I did? Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it today. So I don't know how many of you guys like Kraft cardstock. Tom, you kind of like Kraft cardstock, don't you?
Yes, it's a very earthy kind of workshop place to start with color, I think.
That's what we should have done for our Valentine's Day Live. We should have done some Kraft cardstock for you.
Next time.
It's got a woodsy feel, very natural. And I do love to use all of the bright rainbow colors all the time. You guys know I'm a bright color freak, but every once in a while I like to pull out that Kraft and do something different. Well, today what I thought I would do is use Kraft cardstock and color on it with some Prismacolor pencils. So something a little bit different. I've done it before in the past, but haven't done it for a long time. And I think it's really fun to do. So how is everybody today? I see all the weather reports coming in. It's been cold and icy all over the place. We are so glad you're all safe and sound. We had an ice storm yesterday. Tom and I were actually out in it too, like like idiots driving around, right? We were having fun though. Yeah, so today it's much better here. Hopefully it's passing through and it will be nice and beautiful again back where you are tomorrow if you're having that now. So I wanted to show you the stamp set that I'm going to use today for my project. This is a stamp set. Let me get a piece of white cardstock here. This is a stamp set by Hannah Drapinski. And let's go to the overhead. There we go. Ooh, it's a little bright, but that's because we're working on Kraft. So we have the camera set a little bright so you can see it. This one is called Poppy Garden, and it is huge. And it's also got a coordinating die set to it. And I really love this die set because I just cut one out just to see how big it is. And check this out. Look how big that is. That is gigantic. And it's the perfect size to go over a card front. Isn't that awesome? So I thought that instead of just stamping the image right on the white, I would actually stamp it on Kraft and color it and then put it on white and see how all of that looks. So let's give it a shot and see what we come up with today. Now, for those of you that like to stamp along, I'm going to be using Prismacolor pencils, but just a couple of them. If you don't have Prismacolor pencils and Gamsol, you can even use Copic markers if you want. But I decided that I wanted to do a little Gamsol coloring because that's something that I don't generally do with Kraft cardstock. I've colored on it and I've done Kraft Magic and things like that where you color white first and then you color on top. But I have not really done much Gamsol with it. So I thought that that would be a lot of fun. All right, so look how big this stamp is. Seriously, this is gigantic. This is a quarter sheet of Kraft cardstock, and this goes over the entire sheet. Wow, 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 wow. So I am going to, well, I'm not going to worry about it too much because I'm going to end up cutting some of it off anyway. So I'm just going to stamp it there, and I'm going to use black ink for this. Now, in the past, when I've colored on Kraft, I've embossed my outline first with white embossing powder, and that looks beautiful too. But I thought it'd be fun to use some black ink rather than get into embossing today and see how it looks. So this is kind of a trial for all of us today, and we'll give it a shot and see what happens. So let me zoom out just a bit so that you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I'm using my black Onyx ink pad, and I'm going to ink this up. Now, Kraft cardstock is not as smooth as our white cardstock. So I'm going to stamp this about 2 or 3 times to get the lines as black as possible. And I am going to use my Chucky tool to get pressure on there. Yep, I'm putting some pressure on it. You can hear it cracking. Okay, it looks pretty good, but I still want it to be a little bit darker. Let's see. It would be a good stamp set for a 5x7 card, Carrie. Absolutely, it would be. it's giant. I mean, these kinds of stamps are awesome for even like slimline cards. If you wanted to do like a regular slimline, not a mini slimline, boy, it would go up very far on the card. That's for sure. I know, it's insane, isn't it? The stamp set is called Poppy Garden. I'm going to do one more layer of black just to really make it dark. Black Onyx is a dye ink, yes, and it dries almost instantly, so you can use it with Copic markers and colored pencils and Gamsol. Can't use it with watercolor, though. It will bleed because it is a water-based dye ink. Okay. I like it because it doesn't stain, too. I mean, you know, all ink can stain a little bit, but some of those inks, like some of the the archival inks, they just stain, and then they stain the whole back of the stamp, and you can't even see the image anymore. So I really prefer something that doesn't stain the stamp too badly. So you can see it's got a little bit of a purple hue to it now, but it's still very clean, and you can still see right through it. Okay.
So Susan wants to know why you call it Kraft.
Well, that's the color. It's the color is Kraft cardstock. It looks almost like shopping bag material, like grocery store bag material, which is, it's a Kraft cardstock. That's kind of the industry standard name for this color. Instead of white or black, it's Kraft. And that's the color you would find on our website too if you were looking for it. All right. Let's zoom in. So I saw somebody, did somebody have a Gamsol question? I'm not sure. I'll just close that ink pad and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. You know, some of the reds, like cherry red is a stainer. I don't know why. It's got something in it that just really makes it stain. But red velvet stains a little bit. You know, they're all different. It depends on what the pigment is. What does Gamsol do? All right, Mary. So Gamsol, let me show you what Gamsol looks like. This is Gamsol. And if you don't want to use Gamsol, and I know it's not available everywhere, you can also use something like lavender spike oil. I believe this is available in Europe, lavender spike oil. It's also available here. Some people say baby oil. I'm not a big baby oil fan personally because it just leaves an oily residue on your card and it will darken up your Kraft cardstock. And it just always smells like baby oil and it just feels greasy. So I'm not a big baby oil fan. There is something called Zest It, and it's made from orange oil. And that works really well, and that doesn't leave the residue behind. Zest It. I think that's a big one in the UK. You can find Zest It. So, but Gamsol is 100% pure, odorless mineral spirits, and it's made for the art industry. So my bottle's always half full. It's getting low. Can you see how low it's getting now? I'm going to need a new one soon. Oh, and it's leaking too. Great. Let me clean that up real quick. So, all right, there we go. So it will actually stain the Kraft cardstock, the Gamsol will, but as it dries, that staining goes away, and you'll see what I mean. I like to put it in something like this. This is actually a little votive candle holder. I like this because it's fatter than it is tall, so it's not easy to knock over. I do not recommend, and I know some people will disagree with me, but I'm going to disagree until the day I die. Do not use the hardware store odorless mineral spirits. It is not meant for the art industry, and it's not good to be using that in a closed location. And even though it's called odorless mineral spirits from the hardware store, I still smell it. It's not as odorless as you would think. Okay, so I've got a couple reds here because I definitely want my poppies to be red. And I have a couple greens here. I need my greens to show. And then I also have a white pencil. So Tom and I were just coloring. Well, I was coloring and asking him which one he liked better. And he liked Carmine Red better. Now, permanent red is going to give you the more true red. So if you like your poppies to be very true red, go with permanent red. but Carmine Red actually shows up better on the Kraft. And you can see it's a pinker red. Can you see the difference there? How this one is, let me scribble it on just a scrap piece here. So this is permanent red. And this is Carmine Red. See how it's more pink? So I'm going to go with Tom's pick here with the Carmine Red because you will see that a little bit better. It'll brighten it up a little bit. Now the greens too. This is Kelly Green, I believe. Yeah, Kelly Green. I'm reading it in French, and that's not Kelly Green. Okay, so that's what that green looks like. But I also have this light green, which really pops on that Kraft. And I thought we could use those together. Christine, I don't use fresh Gamsol every time. But sometimes, like if I'm not going to use Gamsol for a while, I'll put a lid over this just to prevent it from evaporating. I left my last Gamsol sitting out and forgot to put a lid on it. And so when I came in this morning, I noticed that I had no Gamsol. So I had to fill it up again. But you don't need to use fresh Gamsol every time. Just put a little lid on it, maybe even piece of, plastic over it, something to prevent it from evaporating. Now I'm going to use these blending stumps. These are my favorite. They're by a company called Creative Mark. And this is a size number 1. I like the size number 2, but for some reason I don't have any of them sitting around here. I don't know. I must have thrown some out when I was going on my cleaning rampage. So number 1 will work fine. All right. So I'm going to start just by coloring close to the center of each flower. Now, if you want a much brighter color, you can color the whole flower in white first. But I want this to be soft and subtle, but I do want to be able to see the color. So I am just going to go right in with the color and not worry about coloring white first. And you can see I'm coloring all along the area where the petals would appear to be coming out of the center of the flower. This looks quite different, though, than coloring with white cardstock. Definitely looks different. So you might not like it as much, but I like it for something different. And I'm always kind of looking for just something fun and different to do. Now this one's kind of a closed flower. So I'm going to color the bottoms of these petals here. Like that. And then I'll come in here. I'm doing all of my coloring first on these. And I do like to keep a relatively sharp point on my colored pencils, but this, I'm really taking it down because I am really pressing kind of hard here.
Shauna said she's confused about the type of ink to stamp with.
So we have a couple of different types of ink in our collection. We've got pigment ink, we've got dye ink, and we've got amalgam ink. We also have embossing and watermark ink. The dye ink is the best ink for when you want to stamp in solid color. It's also a great ink if you want to color with Copic markers or colored pencils in Gamsol. If you are a watercolor fan, dye ink is a water-based ink. So as soon as you touch water to that ink, it's going to make the ink bleed and run. So you want to use something different. And that's where our amalgam ink comes in. Amalgam ink is great for watercolor. It's great for Copic markers, and it's great for colored pencils in Gamsol. So some of our friends prefer to use the amalgam ink for everything because then they don't have to decide ahead of time what they're going to color with, and they can also mix. So some people might like to finish a card like this and then do watercolor on the background. So that is, you'd be better off using amalgam ink for that. But if you just like coloring with colored pencils and Gamsol and maybe a little bit of Copics, and then you do mostly stamping, stamping solid images, greetings, our dye ink is just fine for that. I don't know when our full set will be back in because every time it takes forever because of the shipping and just supply chain issues. And every time we get colors in, other colors are sold out, and we just never seem to be able to get the full set together. And we don't like to let ink sit because we want it to be fresh when it gets to you. So if we find out the colors are going to take 6 months to get in, we're not going to hold colors for full sets because we don't want you guys to have old ink. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my Creative Mark blending stump, and I'm going to dip it into the Gamsol. Now, if you're new to Gamsol, don't just do this and think that it's ready. It looks like it's on there, but what you want to do is you want to put it in there and you want it to absorb a little bit into the tip of your blending stump. Now, prior to coloring, what I did was I took the blending stump and I took a little bit of sandpaper. This is a sanding tool for colored pencils and for, you know, blending stumps and things like that. You can use a nail file. You don't have to go out and get one of these. I just happen to have one. But all I do is I take a brand new blending stump. Let me show you what they look like new. Let me find one. I have new ones. Okay, so here's a brand new blending stump. I'm going to zoom in even closer so that you guys can see this. You see the way this paper is twisted on the end, and see it's like kind of hanging off the end? They can see that, right, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a problem. We want to get rid of that because that's going to get wet and it's going to be floppy. So what I do is I take the nail file or the piece of sandpaper, and you see how it's starting to like sand off there? See, it's getting kind of weird at the top. I just get rid of it. See, it's coming off like almost like a little piece of fabric or something. And I just get rid of that. And I get it to a nice point. But then what I've done is by filing it, I've made it more porous. So this way it's going to absorb the Gamsol better. These are number 1s, PA. These are size number 1, but I like number 2 a little better, but I don't have any, so I'm going to use number 1. All right, so we'll go back to that wet blending stump, and I'm going to dip again. Now, if you don't have Kraft cardstock, Judy, try another color. Try coloring on like a teal, or try coloring on a green or something and see how it looks, or maybe a gray. A gray would be beautiful. All right, so now we're gonna put this blending stump right over the color. Some people say it doesn't, you know, my color won't move, it won't blend, but that's because they're going right up to the color. You got to get on the color. You got to kind of melt that color a little bit with the Gamsol.
Are we selling blending stumps?
We don't have any. No, we don't have them right now. I'd like to get them. Okay, now you see how my Kraft cardstock is turning all dark? That's going to lighten up again. So it's going to go back to the original color, and then you'll be able to see that blend much better. So just blend that out. And we can always go back and add more color if we want it. See, I'm just taking that color and moving it down close to the edge, so it almost disappears into nothing. But you see, as it's starting to dry, this will make a big difference. Once it's dry, you'll be able to see it much better. And then we're going to add a little white, I think. Okay. I don't know how to sharpen Arteza pencils. I would think that they either have their own sharpener, or you could probably jam it right into one of these. Do they have a weird shape? I don't know. I don't remember what they look like. I'm just a Prismacolor girl. I know a lot of you guys like the polychromos, and you like some of the other pencils out there, and they are beautiful, but I've just used these pencils for so long. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more color here. You can always go back and add more. If you want to brighten it up a little more, you can. And you'll be able to see this once this dries. It just takes a little while for it to dry. Okay. So we'll keep coloring so that it has time to dry. And then once it's dry, we're going to go back and we're going to add a little bit of white around the perimeter of the flowers to really make them pop. I like the Kraft cardstock. I think it's just fun and it's different. Now, I've done videos where I've used nothing but Kraft cardstock and a white pencil, and that is also a very, very pretty look. So you could try that as well. I would have colored the poppies white, but I feel like they just really need to be a bright red or a bright pinky red. This is fun. And you can see I don't dip back into the Gamsol until it starts to make kind of a squeaky sound, or I feel it kind of squeaking across the paper. Then I know that the blending stump is too dry and I need to reactivate it. Yes, this is the Gina K Designs Kraft cardstock. You will mostly find me using my brand of cardstock and ink and things like that. Okay, we're pulling it down. Doesn't take very long to color this way. I think it'll make a difference when we add the white too. I think you're going to like that. Really brightens it up. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think, well, yes, and a lot of people ask me about Prismacolor. They'll go looking and they'll ask me, do I use the Scholar or the Premier? It's a great question. So I would definitely use the Prismacolor Premier pencils, not the Scholar ones. I know the Scholar ones are a lot cheaper. That's why people want to know. The Prismacolor Scholar pencils are very hard. They're not creamy the way these pencils are. And I don't know if it's that they're made for schools. I don't know if they're made more for drawing and getting that real fine detail. I'm just going to add a little bit there. I might add some white pencil there. But I think they're more of a drawing pencil and not as much of a blending kind of pencil. Barbara, it always surprises you when you hear the music. It just kind of creeps in. I like the music, especially when I'm coloring. It kind of takes up the dead space. So Tom, you're right. You really are living in the dead space. Oh my goodness. Is it spring yet? It's almost spring. I have to count how many Mondays to spring. That's how I'm living. Monday to Monday. Thinking about spring. I need to get back out on my bike. Miss my bike. I know my friends from south of the border don't like me to talk about how fast spring is actually coming because it means that their winter is coming. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more pencil onto this bigger one here. I want a little more color in here. I want to blend that out. Oh yeah, we do need a word of the day. You're right. Need a word of the day. There's a lot of color left on the blending stump too. So isn't that pretty? Just very nice, shaded, soft. So let's take a white pencil and let's just go around the outside a little bit of each of these petals. Just to make them stand out a little bit more. That's pretty. I like that. I'm kind of doing it more where there isn't a lot of Gamsol or where there isn't a lot of color. That just makes it pop a little bit more. Yeah, I like that. And then if you want to blend that white out a little bit, like if it looks too white, you can always just run your blending stump over it just to soften it a little bit. There we go. I think that really kind of pulls them apart a little bit from the background. So Tom.
Yes.
A couple people were asking if you have a word of the day.
Okay, so I don't have the usual kind of word of the day, but I have kind of an interesting usage that I thought was very creative and very funny. I was going through some of my library information for my library card, and we belong to some really, really good libraries over the years. And I remember there was a book club at one of the libraries, or maybe one online, I don't remember. It was several years ago that I saw it. And it was a book club of these very hip, like Golden Girls.
Oh, the Golden Girls book club?
No, it was a book club of like, very hip elderly women.
Oh, yes.
And they would have meetings and they'd get together and talk about books. But they called themselves the Book Bags.
That's great. I love that. I want to be in that club.
Yeah, it makes you kind of want to hang out with them.
It does. I love that name, the Book Bags. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you can see just adding that little bit of white. Oh my gosh, I'm not getting over that one too soon. Just adding that little bit of white on the ends of the petals really does make the flowers stand out. Definitely get it in here. Just going around the tops of these. Where this little petal is kind of folded over. Okay, so I feel like that just makes things pop a little bit. Now, I'm also going to take my white pencil. I'm going to sharpen it. I know everybody asks me. This is the iPoint Orbit pencil sharpener. And I'm going to sharpen it just a little bit because I want that point to be nice and sharp. As far as using a paintbrush, you can give it a try. The thing that I like about a blending stump, I like it better than, I know people stick it in empty markers, Gamsol and empty markers and all of that. I guess I like the traditional feel of a blending stump because it's made of paper and it's pressed paper, and as the texture of it moves the colored pencil so much better. So you can try a paintbrush, you can try loading it up into a marker. But my favorite, and will always be my favorite, is putting it into, dipping a blending stump in it. Okay, so I am just accenting the white centers with that pencil. Because the marker itself is very smooth. It's like a Copic marker, it's got a very smooth kind of texture. Blending stumps are rough. So they actually grab that color, that waxy color, and move it. So I'm a big fan of the blending stump. Okay, so that really kind of made those flowers pop a little bit too. All right, so now let's go with the Kelly Green now. And we'll blend some color down here onto the leaves at the bottom.
What was that stamp set again, Poppy?
This is called Poppy Garden. Is that what it's called? Yes, Poppy Garden. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of color it like that. And then I'll use a different blending stump. You could use the other side if you only have one. And remember, because it's dry, we're going to soak it for just a second. And now I'm going to work that color up. Don't worry if you get like Gamsol somewhere else on your card. It'll dry and it'll all come up nice. Okay. So now I've got that color on there. Now I'm going to use this lighter green. It's called light green. I'm going to add some of that into here too, because put that more in the center, and I'm going to blend that out a little bit into that other green. Just to kind of give it a little glow to it. And I will definitely post pictures of this. Yeah, I think the white helps, don't you? I was leery of it too. Evelyn, I was thinking, gosh, I hope this looks good. But I think it does. I think it just kind of makes the color pop a little bit. It just separates it a little bit from the rest of the Kraft cardstock around it. So I'm going to color just the bottoms of these leaves. I might go up this side a little bit. And I'm not coloring very carefully, obviously. All right, we'll blend that side out a little bit and see how this looks. When the Gamsol evaporates, it does lighten up quite a bit. And if you remember what it looked like when I first started with the Gamsol, that cardstock got very dark brown, but it's starting to lighten up quite a bit. But it doesn't change the color of the cardstock. It's not like bleach. You can also bleach Kraft cardstock if you want. Forgot to put some color here. And I feel like for this, you know, let's get that lighter kind of up in here like that. Get that glow going. Yeah, Kraft is so much fun. It's kind of like I'm just putting the lighter color kind of where the leaves are bending a little bit. If you can see that, kind of gives it a bit of a glow. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I know sometimes for some people these kinds of videos are boring because it's a lot of coloring, but for some people it really helps to see, you know, what I'm actually doing with the blending stump. These wider ones, I like to do more of a circular motion. And the other ones, I tend to just like drag the blending stump up. And then I'm going to add that lighter color in here. It's pretty combination of colors. So it's light green and Kelly green are the two greens. And then the Carmine Red, is that what the color was? Carmine Red, yes, Carmine Red. Okay, so we're getting there. We're almost done here, and then we're going to be able to turn this into a card. We're going to give it away, too. So if you're new here, I usually give my cards away, and the way to win one is just to leave a comment. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel. YouTube will send out notifications too if you click the little notification bell on the channel. Then anytime there's a notification, you'll get a little... You have to have your notifications turned on, though, like on your phone to receive notifications from YouTube. But then when I go live, you'll get a little notification that says Gina K Designs is going live.
So Carrie wants to know, does the bleaching work on Gina K Kraft?
It does. It definitely does. If you want to use bleach as your coloring tool, it does. And I think, I mean, I have a video for everything. I really do. I mean, I was looking at my own channel trying to get ideas for new videos because I've done everything. There's just so few things that I haven't done on my channel. And I'm almost 100% sure that I have a bleaching video where I did it on Kraft. So I'm just blending out this green, and then I'll go back and add the other green. Now for like the stems here, I'm not trying to blend anything. I'm just trying to soften the color with the Gamsol, because it will soften the color. You know, the colored pencil kind of looks, you can kind of see the little stroke marks in it, but when you run Gamsol over it, it just smooths all of that out. And then we'll add that lighter green. Kind of scared to cut it out. I probably should have cut it out first. So if you're doing this, maybe cut yours out first to make sure you get it cut straight before you go through all the work. I know some of you are like, well, now she tells me. I heard you say that. Yeah. Down here, I'm probably going to even cut some of that off, but all right, now we'll add a little of this in here. Get some up here, in there. I don't even know if you'll see this one, but we'll add it anyway, just for good measure. I don't know if white would work on the leaves. I don't think we need it because I think this particular green is so vibrant. This light green, it almost has kind of does something similar to white. All right, so what do you guys think? You like the way that's colored? I do. I would love to see what a little bit of permanent red would look like real close, just right in here. So I'm going to add a little permanent red right in here just to deepen it up a little bit. And then I'll use my red blending stump and blend that out a little bit. Don't worry, it's going to get dark, but it'll get light again. Yeah, I like that. I'll do just a little bit on this one, right? Wrong color. Right in here, just a little bit. And a little bit up in here. You definitely can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it really well, but you'll be able to see it when I post the pictures. So again, if you're new to my channel, I always post high quality pictures both on YouTube and in our Facebook group. Yeah, I like that little bit of darker red in there. 2013, Janice, that's when I did the bleach on Kraft. Wow, thank you. I used a stamp set the other night, on Monday night from 2013 too. I guess I'm going back to 2013. Oh, how many of us would like to go back to 2013? I would. Maybe not. I don't know. Sometimes you think, oh yeah, it'd be great because you only remember the good stuff. But there's good stuff now, so should be grateful we're here, right? Right. Red down at the bottoms of each of these. And then I'm going to cut it out. Your wrinkles would? Oh, Linda. Mine too. We should wear them though. They're Our wrinkles are proof that we smiled a lot, right? I guess it depends on what direction they're going in, but let's let's be positive. All right, so I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to back up just a little bit. The name of the blending tool that I am using is a blending stump. It is by Creative Mark. Okay. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't either. I guess I wouldn't really want to go back because we've been through an awful lot that we'd have to go through again, and I don't want to do that. So, okay. So I'm going to use this giant die to cut this out. And I'm definitely going to tape it all down. This is a very big die. I feel like I should do my die cutting trick for this because there's a lot of reasons to do that. I'm going to do that. So let me get a piece of cardstock. Here we go. I think this will work. Will that work? Yeah, that'll be big enough. So I'm going to cut this out first with this piece of cardstock. And I like doing this because it helps me line up my die better. The name of this Stampin' Die is Poppy Garden. Okay, so here we go. We'll see how this looks. At least it'll get me close in the right spot up top. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this down here and make sure that I've got it where it needs to be. Like that. Ooh, that's pretty. The color's pretty together, isn't it? I probably should have cut the whole thing out. I'm going to cut the whole thing out because I do not want to screw this up. And I could feel some of you yelling at me, saying, cut the whole thing out, and you would be right. So I will cut a full sheet. I don't want to mess it up. Okay. Yes, everybody's happy now. Do I have a favorite flower Stampin' Die set? Oh, Sandy, that's such a hard thing for me because, again, like my stamps, they're like my children, you know? I like them for different things. Like for coloring, I just love this one, but I also love all the other ones I've colored too. So it's really hard to say. But this is definitely one for sure. This one was drawn by Hannah Drapinski. She's one of our illustrators, and she hand drew this. Okay, so now I'm going to lay this on top and make sure I have good borders all around. Because you'll see it, you know? Especially if I pop this whole thing on white. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think that's looking good. I'm going to just pull it down just a little bit. Yeah, like right there. I taped it down so it shouldn't move. That looks pretty good. Ooh, it's close there. This is a big die. You got to finagle it. Let me get these out. Yeah, this is a good tip because you could see I'm even struggling and I'm not even cutting yet. I just want to make sure that it's where it needs to be. I think that's going to look pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to tape that down. I think it's going to be okay. That's tight there, but I think it'll be all right. And then I'm going to pop this into that spot. There we go. Okay, you definitely want to have tape ready. I know there's a lot of flowers in this set. Beautiful flowers. I'm going to tape it here. Tape it up here. Tape it down here too. And tape it down here. Alrighty. I think that'll do it. Okay. Wish me luck. I'm going in. See why I think you should cut this first? Alrighty. We're going to start doing sneak peeks of our new release. Maybe tomorrow I should do that. I think this cut pretty well. Let's see. I'm going to hand cut that in there because let me get my scissors. I lost my really good scissors. My little Brutus Monroe scissors. I love them. I also love the Tim Holtz ones, so I will use those today. That didn't cut all the way through. I think I had I didn't have the plate all the way up here on the bottom. There we go. Nice. There. Okay. Looking good. All right. Oh, I love that. Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. Yeah, I don't mind taking my time crafting because it's my hobby. I love to do it. And so why would I want to rush it? I don't mind doing techniques that take a while and making cards that take a while because it's all part of the fun. For me, it's not about the end product. It's about the process that's enjoyable. I mean, it's always nice at the end to have a pretty card, but the process is so enjoyable. So I don't want to throw this out. I will clean that washi tape off later. I'll clean this piece off now. It's not bad. Okay, and that's a big die. Alrighty. So I think I'm going to put a word over this too. So while I have the die cutting machine out, let's pick a word. And I just want a single word, like hello, something like that. I think I will find that word. It's in here. I know it is. Here it is. Like this hello, maybe right across would be really pretty. So let's cut that out in white. I know I have black on every card that I make, and all of a sudden now I'm in the mood to use white cardstock. Yeah, hello's a good one because I don't have to add anything else with that. So I've got it blade side up here, and then I'm going to cut it. Ooh, it's one of my favorites too. I like that other hello that I used the other day too. That's a good one. That's part of the bundle, but this is a very, very pretty hello. Got to get it out of the die. Here we go. We have those little pokey holes that we'll get it out. That's pretty. And so I think that would be really pretty right over the flowers. Maybe down near the bottom. Okay. We'll see how it looks. We can always do something different if we have to. We can even use some vellum if we have to. I'm going to get rid of this die cutting machine for now. And then we can either use white cardstock or we can use Kraft cardstock on white. So in other words, have a panel of Kraft and then pop this up and then have the hello like that. Or we can go right onto the white card. Which do you guys like better? Kind of like the Kraft. Now let's look at one more thing though, because this Dusty Rose was really pretty with it. And that could be a really pretty panel. And then have the Kraft on top like that. So what do you guys think with that? And we got to look at one more color. Let's look at Innocent Pink, because Innocent Pink will be much softer. It won't be so drastic. So what do you guys think? We could try a green. You think this Innocent Pink? Because I like how soft it is. It blends into the background. Because the Kraft, I like the Kraft, but I feel like then the whole thing kind of gets lost on it. What do you think? That is pretty though, too. Oh my goodness. Black? Oh, somebody said black, so we gotta just look at it on black. I'm gonna freak out. Okay, here's black. Here it is on the black. Should I zoom in? Okay, that does look cool. Make one of each. But I think the majority of people are telling me that they like the real light pink. So here's the real light pink again with the white card base, and then that. That's very springy. That's very springy. So let's go with the innocent pink because it's very springy. But I do love all of your ideas. And this would actually maybe allow me to do a little, should we make this a 5x7? Because you guys like 5x7s, right? Maybe we should make it a 5x7. Let's see what it looks like as a 5x7. I don't honestly know if it's going to fit on a quarter sheet, because here's a quarter sheet, right? Let's score this and we'll just look at the quarter sheet. So here's a quarter sheet. I mean, this whole thing is like the same size as the card. That doesn't give me a lot of room unless I just do a quarter sheet of innocent pink and put it on there. All right, 5x7. Everybody has the master layouts 5x7 and they want to see that. So we're going to do that. Okay, so a 5x7 card would be 7 inches by 10. So we'll cut this 7 inches by 10 inches. 5x7 is a really good size because it's not too big. It sounds like it's big, but it's not too big. So 5x7, and then we've got to score that at the 5-inch mark. So we've got 7 inches this way, and we'll score this at the 5-inch mark. I'm going to have to flip it to score the other side at 5 inches. Okay, 5x7. And we'll take it down in the center. I know this might, I don't think it's going to make this look small, but it's going to make it look smaller. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Master Layouts 8 die set so we can get, pull that out here, so we can get those nice smaller panels on the inside. Well, give me a chance before you say the white word is too bland. Give me a chance to get these pieces cut out first, and we'll see how it looks. Because it might not look as bland to you once we get the color behind it. And I can't use black because there's too much black going on in the card. You know me, I always use black words. I love that look, but I think there's just too much going on, too much black going on in that card to be able to see it. Yeah, a slim line would be great. All right, so I will give you just a little hint, okay? I know a lot of you guys like the mini slim lines, and a lot of you really like regular slimline cards. Well, there just might be a master layout set coming in our next release next Monday. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, I'm going to cut the stitched one out of Innocent Pink. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to get your fill of slim lines. I promise. I really needed to turn that on an angle. Or I need to work out. Okay, see how much smaller that is? That panel is going to look really nice. That's all I can say. I can't say any more. I said enough. I've already said too much. And I'm going to cut the black one out of the plain. This will look nice too with the the little stitched edge on that pink. It'll look very elegant. This is a great springtime card. Yes, this card is 5 by 7. And I think I told you this story before, but I'll tell you again. Because I am of the age where I repeat stories, and you just got to put up with it. So my mom used to equate the amount of love, how much you loved her, by how big the card was. So you can imagine my sheer terror giving her an A2 card. She did not feel very loved. So 5 by 7s she would have really enjoyed. All right, so let me get a little tape here. See that nice little stitched edge? So cute. I need to see this to line it up. There we go. Okay. Clean that up a little bit with my nail. Okay. Now this whole thing is going to go onto this white panel. I love the big wide border around that too. It really sets everything off. Your mom can be picky too, or yeah, my mom was a little picky when it came to her cards. Bigger cards meant more love. So it's good to have 5 by 7s and slim lines ready to go for people who do that. All righty. Let's see. Now, I think this is going to be beautiful. Isn't that pretty? We could even put the hello down here so that it kind of hides the unfinished edges. Love that. Love it. So should I pop this up, the whole thing? No, I don't think so. I'm going to put it flat because that word will be all weird because it's half on and half off. So I'm using tape for this. And then I'll glue the word on. So the word's going to be down about here. So we'll put this right here. Like that. There we go. Put a little tape under there. And under there. Sometimes I miss a few spots. And then you can just lift it up and you can tape it this way. Like that. Okay, and now we will put this right here and we'll just glue it down with some Connect glue. Oh, I'm glad you like it. I know everybody has their own ideas, and that's what's great, is the ability for us to each be creative in a different way. And, you know, some of you may have preferred the Kraft card base, and some of you may have liked the black in there. I liked all of it, but I can only do one. So I can only do one on the camera. I can go back and make 10 more of these with all the different combinations if I want. So I'm just taking little bits of Connect glue. I have it in these little mini fine tip bottles. This way, it's so nice to be able to get these dots so tiny. And we have the Connect glue now in the bigger size, so you can use the big one if you like to glue your cardstock together with the big one, and then this for these little fine detail areas. Okay. Might have to put a couple sequins on here. Ooh, sticking to me. Let's put that right there like that. There we go. Okay. So there's my finished card. Oh, yeah, that image is a great size for this card, for a 5 by 7. So that's the Poppy Garden stamp set. If you love making those 5 by 7 cards. And I think, you know, this would have looked good in black too. So I forget who said that they thought the white looked a little bland. It might look a little bland, but I think it's okay. And I think you'll be able to see it better when I take a picture, because our lighting is very bright. So whites do tend to wash out just a little bit. All right, so I might pop a couple sequins in here while we're talking. I think I'll add just a few little sequins in different spots. I'm going to put a little tape on here too. I don't like the way this is sticking up. All right, Tom. Well, we're going to give this card away. Let's see. Put a sequin here. Put one here. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Don't ask me how I know where to put the sequins because I don't. And I don't know if this is going to look good or not. But we're going to go with it. Okay. There. I'm using disco ball sequins because I think that they're very pretty and springy and they're just simple. They don't take away from the card. You know, they don't like they're not too obvious. They're just nice. I pulled that one off with my sticky finger because I had glue from the hello on there. So I've got a couple different sizes here. I have really tiny ones too. They're a little harder to get on, but. All right, Tom. So who are we going to give this card to while I'm putting the sequins on?
Cheesy drum roll. All right. And the lucky winner today of this gorgeous card is Susan Morris. Susan Morris.
Hey, Susan. Yay. Congratulations. There you go. Yay, Susan. So they're a little bit of sequinage. Can they see that? I don't know if that shows through.
I see them.
You see them? Okay. I tried to do an odd amount. I did 7 up here and 3 down here. All right, Susan. Well, congratulations. Just send your name and address to info@ginakdesigns.com and we will get this card right out to you. Just say you won the big Poppy Garden card. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun. I hope you guys had fun today coloring on Kraft. And I will be back later this week with either a 5-minute card or a 5-minute technique. And I hope you will stop back and see that as well. If you wouldn't mind, subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. I don't know where it is on the screen. And then you'll never miss another video. If you're watching on Facebook, we always post our lives both on our Facebook page and in our Facebook group at Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. All right, everybody. Well, have a great rest of your week. And stay safe, stay healthy. We love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.